Welcome back to From the Shed End. Thank you very much for joining me. Now, before we get into the content, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. You give us a like as well and let us know your thoughts in the comments. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you check out our podcast. Episode 64 is out now with myself and Theo. We're waiting for the new season to come. It's coming very soon, so we're going to have a lot more content in terms of podcasts coming up very soon. But let's get straight into it. Let's talk about transfers and some of the latest news that's coming out of Stamford Bridge and the camp at Cobham as well. Now, let's start with no better place than let's talk about Chelseafc, who apparently has told the club he is willing to leave. He wants to try and move to Barcelona, the club that seems to be taking every Chelsea transfer target at the moment. But for me, I mean, look, he's almost irreplaceable, Chelseafc. He's someone that's been reliable. I know I've said previously that he's definitely aging. You can tell that his legs are gone, etc., etc. But I think we have to be in a position where we can't sell Chelseafc unless we get a very decent replacement in for him. At the moment, we kind of seem like I don't want to say we're panicking, because I said we shouldn't panic on this channel. We shouldn't panic in terms of transfers. We still need to believe that Thomas Tuchel, Todd Boehly, the team around him will do the right thing, get the right players in. But we are running out of time now. And to lose someone like Chelseafc when we haven't replaced Antonio Rudiger, we haven't replaced Andreas Christensen, we're expecting Ben Chilwell to come back as a fully fit Ben Chilwell, which I still think is going to take a lot of time. I can't necessarily see him coming back and hitting the form and the peak that he did, at the start of last season. So to lose Chelseafc as well, and then heavily rely on Reece James, Marcus Alonso, and obviously Ben Chilwell on the left side. You're looking at Malang Sarr, Trevor Chalobah, Thiago Silva as your main core defence. It's not looking the best for us. Obviously, we've got Levi Colwill and Ethan Ampadu, who've both gone to the pre-season tour. But are they levels enough? Are they the right level for us? I don't think they are. I think they're very good squad players. I think both of them can be integrated into the squad. But the fact that we've been chasing Jules Koundé, the fact that we've been talking to Delete, who now looks like he's Bayern Munich bound, we're talking to all these defenders and we still haven't signed any. So it's worrying if we lose another defender without bringing any defenders in my opinion. It kind of worries me that, Chelseafc, rightfully so, wants a new challenge. He's won everything he can possibly at Chelsea. He's tipped that off with winning the Club World Cup last year. So I think a new challenge is probably the right thing for him, but we have to think from a selfish point of view. We can't allow him to go, even if it is for 10 million, which I think is a very good bit of business in terms of what he's done for the club. And, the fee sounds about right in terms of where he is at what stage he is in his career. So I get that. But to lose him, not replace him, which I think Thomas Tuchel's, resigned to the fact that he wants to leave. But I think from what Thomas Tuchel's saying as well, we do need to bring that replacement in, and he can't leave until there's a sufficient replacement in place before he can move over to Barcelona. So it's going to be an interesting one how that plays out, because I'm pretty sure, if he doesn't get the move, will he try and force the move? Will he put in a transfer request? I don't know. And if he does that, it might change the whole dynamics of the whole saga for him. Me personally, I can't see him doing that. I think he's got too much respect for the club. He would potentially see out his final year at the club with the contract that he's got in place. But look, he does deserve that move based on what he's done for the club over the last couple of years as well. So we'll have to see how that pans out. But let's go back to Bayern Munich, who I just mentioned before, because there has been a lot of talk over the last couple of days about Robert Lewandowski, who is obviously looking for a new challenge. He's told and informed Bayern Munich he doesn't want to be at the club. He wants to move ideally to Barcelona. Surprise, surprise, the club that wants everyone. And our name has now come into that hat for Lewandowski. We spoke about it on one of the podcast episodes a few weeks ago, and I'm of the opinion that he's a proven goal scorer in front of goal, keeps himself in brilliant shape in terms of, fitness and just the age that he is, and the levels of fitness that he still seems to be able to possess is a no-brainer to put him in that team. It would then also alleviate that pressure of Kai Havertz. If we don't end up, obviously, we spoke last time on the last video around Cristiano Ronaldo. But if we don't have that sort of, prolific goal scorer that we know Ronaldo can be and Lewandowski can be as well, and we are relying on Kai Havertz to play that false nine that he played, 2 seasons ago, Lewandowski's it allows Havertz to maybe come back, play that 10, relieves a bit of pressure on Mason Mount as well. Like, you can interchange, and obviously Sterling coming in as well, who we're going to talk about shortly. But Sterling coming in, I think for me, Lewandowski's a no-brainer. He's got his heart set on Barcelona, but there's a thing that I'm scratching my head about. I just don't understand how Barcelona, who have come out, it's been widely reported that they owe heavy amounts of wages to the current players that they've got, and they're still able to go out and sign certain players. I mean, they want Lewandowski. They look like they've agreed a deal now for Rafinha, who looks like he used us for his own gain. Ousmane Dembele, another one who was heavily linked with us, and we offered the contract to him. We offered him a very lucrative deal, and he's decided to take a pay cut at Barcelona to stay there. I mean, it shows the pulling power that Barcelona have in terms of the grand scheme of things. But at the same time as well, you have to ask yourself, how are they affording to put all these players transfers through? They owe wages to some of the current players that they've currently got at the squad that haven't been paid correctly for however many months or weeks that they haven't been paid, and they're still able to put bids on the table. How have they magicked 70 million for Rafinha? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But in terms of Lewandowski, I mean, the easier option, I suppose, at the age and the level that he is now, would be to go to Barcelona, go to La Liga, play probably at that slower tempo, sort of not as fast paced as the Premier League, and go there and score 20 plus a season. Still, he could do that easily. Bayern Munich are constantly winning everything most seasons in the Bundesliga, so he probably wants that challenge. But for me personally, if he comes to the Premier League, he comes to Chelsea, I'm sure Thomas Tuchel would be a massive fan of him at the club, more so maybe than Ronaldo. I think he would still easily score 20 goals plus. I think he's that good of a striker. Like I said, he keeps himself in very good shape, very rarely injured. So I think, I'd love to see Lewandowski at the club. I think he'd be someone that we could, Todd Bowley's been saying for almost a couple of weeks now, he wants to bring in these marquee signings and give Thomas Tuchel what he wants. And I suppose it comes down to, is Lewandowski the player that Thomas Tuchel wants? We seem to be putting in loads of bids for players, or we're heavily linked with people, ifs and buts. A lot of it seems to be, we're heavily linked, but we're not physically, from the outside looking in, we're not physically making any effort to sign these players, and they're going off to other clubs. I think the Rafinha deal, we should have maybe pulled the deal off the table and see what happens there, because I think the fact that we left that deal out for Rafinha to potentially go and explore what was happening with Barcelona, it put us in a very bad situation, because obviously the player has the power. He can decide where he wants to go. He obviously held out for this Barcelona deal, and the same with Ousmane Dembele as well. We offered a lucrative deal for him. Doesn't seem to have helped us in the long term, because he's now still wanting to stay at Barcelona with a pay cut. I'm happy to see Raheem Sterling. I still feel, obviously, from what I read earlier this week, he's had his medical. He's obviously been on a sort of extended holiday in Jamaica. He's come back, had his medical. He's due to fly out with the remaining sort of, jump onto the pre-season tour with the rest of the team. So I'm hoping the announcement comes very soon, because I think once we get this announcement out of the way, it does alleviate some of that pressure that I'm sure, Todd Bowley, Thomas Tuchel, the sort of recruitment side of things, they must be feeling a lot of pressure, because again, we're being linked with so many players. Jules Koundé, Koulibaly, all these players that we're being linked with, and we're not actually looking like we're signing anyone. And you look at Tottenham, you look at Arsenal, you look at Man City, Manchester United, Newcastle, all these teams are signing the players, they're getting the deals done as soon as they can, and it looks like they're just almost streamlining the process a lot better than we are. So I think we need to get this Sterling deal done. Whether it's done now, get it announced, get him out there with the rest of the squad. And that's another thing that's worrying me, the fact that we're what, 2 weeks, maybe just over 2 weeks away from the first game against Everton on the 6th of August, and we haven't really signed anyone. We've been heavily linked, we've put offers on the table, we've agreed personal terms. Obviously the Sterling deal looks like it's been done, but we need these players to come in to go to America, to embed with the remaining part of the squad, to understand what Thomas Tuchel's going to go. We can't be going into that final game against Udinese, I think, the 27th of July, whenever it is, and be signing players then, and then go into that next week with, Everton, the 5:30 Saturday kickoff, and still trying to bring players in. This is what this part of the season's for. This pre-season is to get those players fit, the system right, get them playing football. This is what we're supposed to be doing. And obviously the sanctions haven't helped, but yeah, just looking at it now, the Rafinha deal, Ousmane Dembele, even maybe Jules Koundé, those 3 deals have potentially stalled a lot of other negotiations that we would have had in place, or we potentially would have been doing or should have been doing, rather than hoping and relying on Dembele or Rafinha to sign for the club. It just doesn't seem very sort of joined up at the moment, and that's a massive worry. But another player that we've been, again, heavily linked with recently is Serge Gnabry from Bayern Munich as well. Can we do the double swoop for both Lewandowski and Gnabry? I mean, I liked him when he was, I think he went on loan to West Brom, and I thought he'd done really well there. He's obviously done even better at Bayern Munich. Heavily developed his game whilst he's been in the Bundesliga. He's someone for me that would potentially fit into the system how we've been playing last season. Is he first choice on people's list? Probably not. I mean, we've only been linked with him slightly the last 3 or 4 days. But there's another argument to say that we have some players that have come back from loans. Do we give some of the youth players an opportunity this season? It looks like we might be. It looks like we might be going down that road of using some of the players that were out on loan, seeing what they can do. But we've got to get these deals done soon, because it's not panic stations just yet, but it's not far away. It's round the corner, because like I said, we're going into this sort of period now where we're playing these pre-season games. We're utilising some of the squad that potentially won't be there come the season. They'll either be sold or they'll go on loan. And you don't want to be going into this league in the Premier League with players that you've just signed, especially if they've not come from the Premier League, which is why I'm not too concerned about Raheem Sterling. He knows what to expect. He understands, the sort of pressures of playing in the Premier League. He understands that he's played for one of the best managers in the world. So you get that he's not going to, he'll take to it like a duck to water. He's played at that level already. But if we're bringing in players that have come from other European leagues and they haven't necessarily had the experience of playing in the Premier League, it's going to take some time for them to gel. So I think we need to get these deals done as soon as possible, rather than going for multiple targets. Let's just dwindle that down, focus on the main targets that we want. Todd Boehly's clearly got money. He's offered deals to Rafinha, he's offered deals to Ousmane Dembele, he's offered deals to other players as well. So, bids have been going in. He's got the money to spend. We've clearly got the money there. It's just, why aren't we signing them? Or commencing that process to sign them anyway, at least. But, we've got to get some of these deals done. I think we've got to bring players in before players can even go out this club. We can't afford to let anyone, the likes of Billy Gilmore, Conor Gallagher, Hakim Ziyech, who's been heavily linked with AC Milan, Timo Werner, who was meant to be part of the deal to bring Delete in. We can't afford for any of these players to go until we've brought in the replacements, because we will end up being heavily under pressure all season if we allowing players to leave but we haven't brought in any replacements. That just doesn't make any sense to me at all. But yeah, we need to see how that goes. Obviously, before we wrap up, another name that we've almost been linked with for the past couple of weeks, Nathan Ake. That deal seems to look like it's progressing very well. 55 million, I think, is what I've been told is the deal. Again, not first choice. I think, you talk about the Koulibalys and the Koundés and Deletes and all these other defenders. But one thing, again, that Nathan Ake has, he's played in the Premier League. He understands how the Premier League works. He's worked under one of the best managers in the world, as I've just said before. So I get why we're going for him. I think the fact that he's played in this league, the fact that he's obviously played for Chelsea previously as well, it does help. It does help. He wouldn't be my first choice at all. But what I don't want us to do is to get to that final week, the final sort of transfer deadline week, and we end up doing what we did when we brought in Danny Drinkwater. We bring in these players that we just know aren't going to fit the system. We're just bringing them in just to make sure we've got the numbers to play for the season. So that is a massive worry. I'm not at panic stations just yet. I will be interested to see how Lewandowski, that deal manifest? How does it go? Are we going to be able to bring him into the club? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Would you like to see Lewandowski at the club, or would you prefer Cristiano Ronaldo as well? What would you do about Cesar Azpilicueta? Would you allow him to leave for 10 million? Would you keep him for another season? What about Rafinha? Let me know what you think about Rafinha and Ousmane Dembele rejecting Chelsea and heading to Barcelona as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and of course you can see the social accounts at the bottom right there. Make sure you click on those and make sure you follow those social accounts as well. We'll be back very soon with another video. Until then, take care and thanks for watching.